recently there was a guy, I forgot his name, I'm a bad guy, sorry, but he started a magazine, Rolling Stones, right? He was a co-founder. And he made a statement saying he's going to make a book of all the best interviews that he's had in his many years of running this rock and roll magazine. And he said he won't be inviting women or black men because, and we're going to focus on black people, we are not articulate enough, so he doesn't want us in his magazine. So I'm saying, by looking at that, you find many non-black people benefit from black expression, black art, but because we don't own it or we don't control institutions that run it, we can easily be part off or be undermined, or you might call the king of rock and roll a non-black person, right? So the question is, how do black people control our own creative art and expression, if it's possible?
Education, in one word. Educate yourselves, learn the actual rights and rules of the place you're standing, the place you're in this country. Because we're not in our country, there's laws set in place before we was even here. There's rules and regulations. Yeah, first things first, educate ourselves and learn the rules.
I personally think it starts off with the idea of wanting to own something. It has to start there. Because for a very, very long time, people were happy to just earn checks. People were just happy to, I've made it out of the hood. People were very, very happy to just be in a position of like, well, I'm feeding my family, you know? But I think it goes beyond, and this is where this thing, I don't want to become religious, but this thing is almost spiritual. Because if you think about Diddy, recently, Diddy was like circulating because he had given back what's it called, that thing, music, the publishing. He had given back the publishing to Maze and all these guys, right? And he done it, people are saying, well, the critique is he done it at a time where Maze is not the hottest rapper anymore, so there's no like royalties on that, you know? So like, and I'm not gonna put emphasis and pressure on someone like Diddy, but like he's in representation of many, many people who work within the industry that are happy to be there. I'm happy to be here, and you know, the door behind me, I don't know who comes in there. I've made it, and that's fine. And I think like it really starts off with the idea of like, why is it important to own something? Is it important to own something that your ego is, that your ego gets fed off that, or is it important to own something because you're structurally changing reality and changing history? And this is why you have to go beyond just this whole thing of like capitalistic understanding of like, you know, ownership.
Thank you, brother.
I think the power is not actually in the ownership. I think the power lies in the controllership, because you could own something but have literally no control over it. So to me, it's the having control over it.
Explain the difference and explain how that can be achieved.
So let me do Titanstv. Titanstv, I own Titanstv, right? But I don't control Titanstv to the fullest. YouTube controls Titanstv.
Fair enough.
YouTube controls with the policies that they make what can come onto Titanstv and what can't go onto Titanstv. So it's having the ability to control things, affect change in the world. That's it.
But you know when people say ownership, generally, yeah.
Ultimately, control and ownership, they make synonymous, but that's a good point. Because ultimately what you're saying is you're joining a platform that isn't black owned, and you're forced to uphold the rules that they say. So if they say you can't promote black stuff, you have to listen. If they say you can't say a word, the algorithm will shut it down, right? So yeah, and that's why my point is this, right? Black first, right? If you create expression, you create art, how can you be the sole control of that art? How can you create institutions, creating ideas that own that, right? Supporting that thing. So if someone, for example, let's say in music, in London, the new music comes through the black community, have distribution for a black distributor, a black record company, black writers, try to make it as a black controlled as possible, right? And stay dedicated, but you have to be aware of that. It has to be something you want. So when you're writing your songs and you're doing things, you're aware of the lyrics you're writing, as a lifestyle, knowing that the best thing a black person can do is own his craft, own his creativity, right? By knowing that and teach that to your children, and even making songs about that, that will make that more of a reality, right? Because, like I said, today, a man is making a magazine about rock and roll, which we all know started in America amongst the black community, the African American community, but yet the man's making a magazine that he's called Rolling Stones, which is a African American word, but yet he will not interview a black person. And this is very normal. When MTV first came out, they wouldn't play black music. This behavior goes on for generations. So that's why black ownership, black controllership is key. It's very key. Anything else you guys want? It's a very simple one. I don't know if there's any naysayers, anyone who wants to push back, but anything.
I do want to say there is places you can go, especially black people, not just black people. But since we want to focus on ourselves, there is opportunities for us out there to educate ourselves, and I think we need to start off by taking that direction before we focus on the collective. Individually improve ourselves, and then, like you said in earlier discussions, attract the people who agree with you, and then build on from there.
But do you think that having the mindset that you're black focused, black B1 is important? So before you go on that journey for learning, you're learning that skill and trade because you want to improve black people's collective standing. So even though you're going to go as an individual, you know that I'm learning this course so I can create a black institution that is beneficial to black people.
Yes, because for one, I am black. So a kid, when he's little, he's going to see someone who looks like him. That's reached new heights, open doors for him. So yes, in long term, it will have an effect because someone who looks like me, kids, the next generation, because that's the future. It just like, yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is, I was trying to make here, right, is being very deliberate with our actions. So we're saying we're doing these things to benefit black people. So if I'm going to learn about the music industry, I'm going to think, how can I start a black-owned business, meaning I'm black-owned business? Can I hire artists who haven't had the opportunity to get their stuff published or released, and I'll release it? Can I influence them to make songs that is in the black people's collective best interest rather than degrading black people generally? Yeah, and how can I, show black culture and black people in a positive light using the institutions I own? Now I'm going to go and learn these crafts to do that. But what I'm saying is, before I do that, I have an agenda. I have a direction.
Yes.
Do you think there's a value in that?
There's definitely a value in that because that's your motivator.
Excellent.
Yes.
Cool. Well, there you go. So, family, the win's coming. But what's your name, brother? Do you mind giving your name?
Yeah. Ramel Wayne.
Ramel
Wayne.
Ramel?
Yes.
Ramel?
So RAMMEL, and then Wayne as in Bruce Wayne, or Tion Wayne.
Big up the brother. Good name. Okay. So this is the end of our corner. We like to big up Titanstv, big up Content Everything, big up the black people who contributed. We want every week black people to come here to talk about black issues. And you'll notice this little some notice. You notice that when we were talking about black issues, there were non-black people asking, oh, do you think you're superior? And are you going to try to take over this kind of stuff? That naturally happens, and that's why many black people are self-conscious about focusing on your own issue, because other people might try to undermine it. Be very wary of that. Also note that when I come forward, I make it very clear I'm pro-black, I practice black betterment, and I'm for the furtherment of black people. But if people I'm talking to or debating don't do that, then we never know where their agendas might lie. So please remember that. But black women, if you can come back next week, it'll be good. But until then, family, big up yourself, big up Titanstv, big up Content Everything. Big up. Oi, there you go.